I got an email this morning from a customer of mine, Evan. He launched his digital product, he launched his PDF. He took the digital product challenge, he bought it on, I think it was June 14th. I think today is June 18th or 17th maybe, I can't remember. Yeah, it is the 18th. And he launched it, actually he launched it yesterday. I just didn't read the email till this morning. So he marks number 107 who went through the digital product challenge and completed it. If you want more, click the link down below. It's the only challenge out there on the internet that I'm aware of where someone will pay you to finish. That's my little carrot on the stick. And I want to share the little backstory of how I came about with this. So it was a couple of years ago, I was on a TikTok live stream and people were asking on how to create an ebook. They're like, you should write an ebook teaching people how to make money selling ebooks. Now that felt gross and really slimy to me. Felt like a used car salesman, you know? And I was like, I can't do that. But they asked for it. And I thought it was a joke at first, and people were like, no, we're serious, we want that. So I was like, all right. So I thought about it. I was like, how can I do this and feel ethical? How can I do this with not wanting to take a shower after any time I promote it online? So I came up with the idea that I would be their first customer. This was in August of 2020, and it was called it was called the 300 Extra. I've talked about it a bit on this channel, but I want to share something else. There's a lesson in here that I want to share today. 300 Extra, and the idea was to help you earn an extra $300 a month selling simple little ebooks. That was the premise of it. And I sold it for $7, and they couldn't price their product for more than $10. So if you can do the math, I lost money on that. Now obviously everybody didn't launch the product, but the ones that did launch a product, they paid me $7, and then I bought theirs back from them for $10. So essentially I was $3 in the hole. Not that smart. But initially, I wasn't doing it to make money. I was doing it to prove the concept. And it worked. And people were taking action on it. I was like, all right. So then I raised the price 17 and 27, 47. I did a video a couple weeks ago, you can check it out right up there, about how I turned a $7 PDF into a $97 PDF, and I explained this process. But anyways, so that was, I renamed it, you know, to the 48-hour ebook challenge, and then I renamed it to Dadpreneur Freedom, and then I renamed it to the Digital Product Challenge, which that's what I call it now. That's the idea. Now, this was years ago. Now everybody and their grandma is teaching people how to create digital products. It's all over the internet. I see it all over my feed. I see it all over in ads. I see it everywhere. And that tends to happen when whatever space that you're in, you're consuming that style content, that type of content. So you're going to see a lot more of it. And it's going to feel very competitive, or it's going to feel very saturated, or it's going to feel like there's so much damn competition out there. How can you stand out? Well, one, you do have to remember, this is the content that you're seeing, of course. That doesn't mean everybody's seeing that content. You know, so that's one thing to kind of keep in mind. And I'm reminding myself of this daily because I see so many people out there, you know, and so that's one. Number two is there are ways that you can make your product truly unique. For example, my digital product challenge. I don't know of anybody out there on the internet that will become your first customer. Now, my product on how to create a digital product, there's hundreds, if not thousands of people teaching the exact same thing. Now mine is different from everybody else's out there. There's nobody else that has a first customer guarantee. And what most people tell me, what most customers tell me, is they bought it because of that. And a lot of people who take the challenge, they've already had their digital product sitting on their Google Drive for 3, 6, 9, 12 plus months. They've had it done. You know, I'll get somebody to buy the challenge and they email me within an hour with a link to the checkout page. And I'm like, how in the hell did you do that in an hour? And they're like, dude, I've been sitting on this thing for so long. I just didn't have the confidence to launch it. But your challenge, your little carrot on a stick of being my first customer, that's what I needed. That was the push I needed. You know, so that's the uniqueness of my product, my offer. So now I can look around the marketplace and sure, I can look and go, gosh, everybody's teaching how to sell a digital product. And that's true, but nobody's offering to become their first customer. That's truly unique. That's my unique mechanism. And anyone else who does it after the fact, I was the first one, you know? And I mean, there's billions of people in the world. People could like copy it, you know? But that's truly unique, you know? So there's ways that you can enter in a competitive market, whatever competitive market. Maybe it's parenting, maybe it's relationships, maybe it's how to grow on YouTube or how to grow on Instagram or how to make money on the internet or the best side hustle out there, whatever it is. You can come up with, you know, in marketing terms, it's a USP, unique selling proposition. How can you find something that nobody else does and lean into that? How is your product different from everyone? It doesn't have to be this huge thing. You know, I've seen people, I did it years ago, and I got the idea from Tim Ferriss, so Tim Ferriss did this years ago. He offered a 200% money back guarantee. It was a digital product. And there was an increase in people in refunds, there was, but it was minimal. But compared to the conversions on the front end, it made him so much more money than the refunds because it was different. And I had a Shopify store back in 2015, 2016. I was selling women's jewelry, costume jewelry, you know, stuff like, it was about $25, $30. And so that I got that lesson from Tim. And then we offered 110% money back guarantee. Now it's a physical good, so there's product cost, there's shipping, there's inventory, there's a lot of cost, there's a lot of hard cost. So I couldn't offer a 200% money back guarantee, but I offered 110% money back guarantee. And at that time, I don't know of a single online jewelry store in the world that I'm aware of that had 110% money back guarantee. So that just differentiated. Now I'm not saying I'm competing with like the big high-end jewelry companies, but like other costume jewelry companies, none of them had 110% money back guarantee. You know, and some people took me up on it. You know, it wasn't a big deal. Shopify wouldn't allow me to refund them 110%. I could only refund them 100%, and then I would have to I would write a manual check for the difference, the 10%, you know, and usually the stuff was $2 or $25, $30. You know, so I was sending out these checks for $2.50, $3. You know, we didn't get a lot of refunds, but that was one way that I differentiated the jewelry store from everybody out there. I just came up with a unique guarantee or money back guarantee, you know, so it can be something around your guarantee. You know, a lot of people offer, you know, look in your space. What's a common guarantee? You know, it might be a 30-day money-back guarantee. Could you offer a 60-day? Could you offer a 365-day? I think that's what Zappos did years ago. They offered, actually, I think they offered a lifetime guarantee. That differentiated them from all the other shoe companies in the world. They offered a lifetime or 365. I can't really remember. Sears is another one. Their tools, Craftsman tools. They offer lifetime warranty on their tools. You know, you break a hammer in 3 years, you can send it back and get a replacement. That's pretty damn cool. You know, so find ways to, and it just has to be one way. It doesn't have to be, when I said ways, I don't mean plural. Find a way to make your product or your offer different. Something different. Look around in the marketplace. You know, it depends on what you're selling. Sometimes you can go to Amazon, book reviews. Again, it depends on what you're selling. And look at the 1- and 2-star reviews and look what people are, you know, look what they're complaining about. You know, oh, I wish this product had this, I wish this product had that. And is there something you could, maybe a guarantee, something unique about it, you know, that other products don't offer? You know, you got to do a little bit of work, research and a little bit of legwork and kind of checking out the marketplace, you know. But if you can find something to make it unique and different from everybody else, it's going to help sales drastically. You know, so that's the story of the Digital Product Challenge. Yes, there's hundreds, if not thousands of people teaching others on how to create digital products. In fact, I was just talking to a friend of mine. I just bought 2 courses from 2 guys that I respect in the online space, and they teach people how to create digital products. And I log in, and they're very thorough. They're very detailed. And I told my friend, I was like, dude, my Digital Product Challenge is just a 45-page PDF. These guys have like 5 to 7 hours of like tutorials. Mine doesn't even stack up close to what theirs is. And then as I was saying that to her, I was like, wait a second, that's the benefit. Mine's the benefit. You can read the guide in 15 minutes and start applying it right away. Both these guys' courses that I told you, I think I watched 1 tutorial, maybe 2, and then I turned it off. It was so overwhelming. You know, the tutorials are like 55 minutes, then the next one was 38 minutes, the next one was 47 minutes, you know, and there was like 12 or 15 of them. And I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna take me a week just to go through this content. You know, so here I am looking at the competitors and comparing myself to them and thinking, oh my gosh, they have so much more volume of content. They have so many, they have worksheets and checklists in this members area with all these videos. And here I am thinking, man, mine will never measure up to that. And then I'm like, wait a second, no, that is the benefit. That's the benefit I lean into. Hey, you can read you can read my guide in 15 minutes and start implementing it within 30 minutes. That's powerful. So sure, the volume of content, mine doesn't compare to theirs, but there's a reason, last I measured, 30% of people who took the digital product challenge launched a product, because it's so fucking simple. So anyways, those are a couple ideas, or you know, a couple of perspectives on how can you make your offer different than everything else in the marketplace, especially in a very competitive space. You know, there's a few different ways to do it, but I shared a couple on this video. So anyways, if you have comments, questions, concerns about creating PDFs, drop them right down below. I do these daily videos Monday through Friday where I walk around the hot Vegas landscape or desert, and I record these videos, one take, 0 edits, just kind of rambling off the top of my head, a thought, a perspective, an opinion, a win, a loss in business, how I do things, a philosophy, whatever it is, and I share it with you guys and gals here on the YouTube. So if you like this style content, make sure you hit subscribe. And then one last call to action, check out that video right there. It is how I am averaging $540 each and every day selling silly little PDFs on the interweb. So click that video right there. It's my framework on how I'm doing what I do.